Okay guys, so straight up, Belial is strong. This character seemingly has it all. Ridiculous damage, a good long-range low being his 2M, a DP, decent anti-air, great zoning, and even multiple command grabs and a counter. This character is absolutely nuts, and we're going to talk about him with this quick little beginner's guide I threw together to help you guys get started with him. So, I had a feeling I liked this character, but holy crap man, it just feels like he's got it all, and I'd be willing to bet that in better hands than mine, he just might end up as a top tier. So I'm really looking forward to how the pros really approach this character. So to get started, his auto combos are fairly standard fare, however he does have a couple really good normals, particularly his 2M. It has great range and reminds me almost of a Goku 2M from Dragon Ball FighterZ, not to mention it's special cancelable. My go-to quickly became to do the 2M and do a heavy Gowisha projectile to start the combo, which can lead to some crazy damage. His down heavy is also a solid anti-air and can lead to an easy medium Asmodeus for some solid damage. Speaking of his specials though, let's get into them because Belial's are very interesting. Let's start with Gowisha, his projectile. He has one of the strangest projectiles I've ever seen in a fighting game, but I'll explain as best I can. So basically, it's a projectile that when shot light goes straight like a basic fireball, when shot medium it goes up at a 45-degree angle, and when shot heavy it shoots straight but hits multiple times, making it ideal for combo extensions. However, the thing with this is, if you hold back and press one of the attack buttons again, it does something else. I'm going to explain this per move because it does vary, so here goes. On the light Gowisha, if you press 4L, the projectile will go forward then up. Fantastic for catching opponents who see the projectile and then jump. If you press 4M, the projectile will go upwards but backwards towards you. This can be used in a similar fashion, just better if your opponent's a little closer to you when they jump. And if you press 4H, the projectile will spin in place, which I think is great for lockdown. If well timed, you can catch a wake up with this to keep them where you want them, maybe even to force a DP. For the medium Gowisha, if you press 4L, the projectile will come back down and go forward. Great for mixing up your opponent. If you press 4M, it comes back towards Belial in the same way it went. This may just be useful to cover yourself if you miss an opponent and see them coming towards you to actually stab them in the back of the head. If they're close enough, this can actually start a combo as well. And for the 4H version, same thing, it will just spin in place, which can set up for combos if you catch a jumping opponent with it. Lastly, the heavy Gowisha has all the same rules as the basic, except the heavy Gowisha on its own hits 3 times, and during the heavy version, the follow-up can still be activated even after the initial hit, making this amazing for combos. So I hope that explanation was sufficient because it's definitely a bit complex, but not hard to get a handle on once you get used to it. Next up we've got Notoria, which is his DP. This move is straight up fantastic. The light version is invincible and the one thing you'll be using the most, however the medium version is not invincible, but it does hit back on the way down. This can be used to catch opponents trying to bait your DP, which is kinda nice. And lastly, the heavy hits going up and coming down. This will likely be your combo ender if you can't use Asmodeus, as well as a solid anti-air, as most DPs are. Speaking of Asmodeus, at first I thought this move was a command grab, however it is not. It still needs to hit your opponent to get started. But it's his most damaging special move and will be your combo ender outside of the corner. The light version is fast but does light damage, medium is slower but does better damage, but the heavy version is the most interesting. It does okay damage, however in the corner you can continue the combo which can lead to some crazy damage. And next up we've got Vasigo, his true command grab. So this command grab is interesting because the light, medium, and heavy variations all travel certain distances on the screen. I can see people mistaking this for a standard walk and getting grabbed. This does solid damage on its own and being a command grab is unblockable. Throw this at the end of block strings to get your opponent mashing, which you can then counter with Give Daddy Some Sugar. His unique action is a parry that counters everything but throws and also has the actual funniest animation I've ever seen for anything. I love this so much, it's so funny. It reminds me of that episode of SpongeBob where the dude walks into the Krusty Krab. You know the one.
Rev up those fryers, cause I am sure hungry for one. Help! Help! My leg!
So the basic game plan becomes get your opponent mashing thinking you're going for Vasigo, and then you mix in his unique action and your opponent won't know what to do. Also to note, if done in the air, he'll do a foot dive-esque dive kick. You won't get much off this that I could find this hide from maybe one hit, but a move that can change your trajectory in the air is actually extremely good. And that's really it for all his basic moves and what they're good for. Lastly are his Skybound and Super Skybound arts, which functionally are the same as basically any other characters. They hit hard, have amazing animations, and are fairly easy to combo into. But don't worry, I'm not going to end this video without giving you some combos, so here's some quick things I found to get you started.
Let's open you. The claws are out. Closer. Wait. Let's open you. The claws are out. Come. The final chapters are here. And so our creator will perish. Let's open you. The claws are out. You're getting on my nerves. Love to more. On a Genesis! Excellent! How you feeling?